So I asked a question in my email community, and the answer that y'all gave me actually shocked me a little bit. I'll be honest. So, on today's episode, I want to share kind of what shocked me about this question that I asked, or the answer to the question, sort of like the spread of the percentage of who said what, and my thoughts about why it is, and the things that I want you to be careful about so that we don't fall into a very, very, should I say, common pitfall that women physicians tend to fall into.
Welcome to the Money Fit MD show. I'm Dr. Latifat, the founder of Money Fit MD. We want to change the narrative where women physicians use. My job is to let you know I have to surround myself with people that are doing crazy things.
I sent an email to my email list and with a poll in it. And for those of you guys that answer that, thank you very much, because your response is what is igniting this conversation that I'm having on the podcast. And the question that I asked was, if you were to have an additional $100,000 right now, meaning you made $100,000 more in sales, or you got a contract, or you got a raise, you negotiated, something happened and $100,000 more came into your life right now, what would you do with it? And so I sent this email to my email list that has thousands of people on there, and the options were pay down, pay off debt, invest, YOLO, and then something else. I believe I had four. And 60 something percent of people said pay off debt. About 20 something percent, 25% said invest. And, a small group said YOLO. And anytime I ask these questions, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to help. I'm here to serve. And I will be honest with you, the answer kind of shocked me a little bit, surprised me a little bit, and I kind of like a little wah a little bit. And I'll explain the reason why. So, there was no right answer, there was no wrong answer. The truth is, I just wanted to know where people are, what decisions people would make, right? Because the decisions that we make decides our lives. The quality of your decisions determines the quality of your life. And so I'm not surprised, although I was a little bit like wah 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 wah, right? And I'll explain the reason why. So, a lot of the financial education that exists in the world that's targeted towards women talks about paying off debt, pay off debt. And some of the more popular financial education programs, Dave Ramsey, they do a lot of like pay down your debt, pay off your debt. Like if you have debt, you're like dead to me, right? Sorry, I don't know where that came from, but the truth is this: that mentality kind of repelled me from talking about money. And when I started my journey 10 years ago, that's all I was hearing. I had so much shame around my debt. I had so much guilt about debt. I didn't know how to pay it off, but I just had all of those feelings about it. And so for me, those feelings actually pushed me away from learning about money. When I did start getting more comfortable with it, when I started fixing my own relationship and my thoughts around money, I said, okay, all I knew was to pay off debt. So I did that. I paid off, about $200,000. We paid off $200,000 in about 2.5 years. But I've always been a little annoyed that many of the financial education focused towards women is debt focused, towards dude investment focused. And so I have built Money Fit MD around changing that narrative, because paying off debt is not what creates freedom. Investing is what creates freedom. Buying assets is what creates freedom. So I've been doing that now for many years. And when people come into Wealth Village, which is the 12-month community we have for women that are leading growing wealth, which is separate from 6 to 7, which is for women that want to build a solid financial foundation. That's the beginning. And so inside of our more advanced program, Wealth Village for women physicians that already have the foundations covered and now want to build wealth, assets, assets, assets. Like if you wake me up in the middle of the night, I want to say assets, assets, baby. Like we got a whole slogan like assets, assets, baby, all of that. So imagine the assets queen asking her email list what y'all gonna do with 100K, and everybody be like, well, not everybody, but like 60 something percent is like pay off debt. I was like, come on, people. But the truth is, it's the truth about where people are. And so what I want to talk about is I want to talk about what surprised me about that, honestly, which is what I've talked about, but also the pitfalls that I want to make sure that we avoid when it comes to how we're looking at our finances that will not burn us in the future. Many women physicians, we're busy, we got life. Many of you guys are breadwinners. Maybe you have kids, you have family, you are busy, you're, a leader, you're occupied, right? And so our time, we have to make decisions about how we spend our time. And so for many women physicians, when it comes to how you are now spending your time, you don't want to sit down in discomfort. You don't want to have pain. I mean, that's normal human psychology, but then now for us, it's even more important, more valuable for you to avoid pain. And so what many of us feel as pain is what we can see, the discomfort we can see, maybe the debt you have. Most of you, maybe you're starting out your journey, you're not looking at the assets you don't have, right? Because you're not seeing what is missing. You're seeing what feels like pain to you. And what feels like pain is what traditional financial education has called pain for you. You're like, oh, I have all this debt. It's painful. It's uncomfortable and all of that. And of course, the math makes sense, meaning that you're looking at the interest and you're like, okay, I'm paying interest. And so, but what that does is many times there can be a hyper focus on what is causing pain in the short term, which for you, debt may be causing you to have pain. And I'm actually going to edit that a little bit and say it's not the debt that's causing you to have pain. It's your own thoughts around the debt. It's your story that you're telling yourself around the debt that really is causing you pain, because Amazon got more debt than I do. And in fact, people that are super wealthy, they believe in borrowing till they die. It's a strategy. Borrow till you die. Right? But people that are starting out their financial journey, people that are maybe the first in their family to build wealth, which may be you, for you, maybe you are more used to the general knowledge, information, which is avoid debt, avoid debt, avoid debt. And again, I'm not one of those people that'll be like, don't think about the debt, just ignore it and over borrow, over leverage. That's foolishness. I'm in the middle court, which is the be aware, have a plan, but also buy assets, because asset is what actually creates freedom. In fact, there was a physician I was speaking to recently who is more advanced in her career, been in practice for, I want to say maybe 15 years or so. And for this doctor, all she's done is like eliminate debt. She's trying to eliminate debt. She's trying to eliminate the debt in her home, eliminate credit card debt, eliminate student loans, and she does not actually have assets. So imagine when the primary things you have is a paid off home. That's it. But you don't have money in the stock market. You don't have other tangible assets. And so your home, you're not going to eat your home unless you're like downsize, sell your home, or borrow against it. That money is not accessible to you. So my point is this. There has to be a balance. You cannot be so focused on the short term of what thoughts are causing you pain to the point where you're avoiding what can give you long-term freedom. You have to keep both in mind. You have to kind of like hold both in tension. That's why I'm a big fan of paying off debt as you invest, not paying off debt only, not investing and ignoring your debt, but having a plan. That's why I believe for most physicians, debt freedom is actually more important, more valuable, more applicable, more wellness focused than debt free, especially in the context of burnout, especially in the context of lifing, and especially in the context of you wanting to take a break, right? I see so many posts about people being burned out. It's a reality. So our financial decisions and actions and moves has to be in context of the lived reality of women physicians, which is burnout, the pressure of culture, the pressure of the healthcare system, insurance administration, reimbursement, and all of that. So don't ignore the long term because you're only focusing on the short term. And there's another learning in there that I want you to not miss, which is you can actually choose your thoughts around your death. Your thoughts are the stories you're telling yourself. When inside of our 6 or 7, our Money Foundation course, one of the things that we address there is debt. And in fact, we recently introduced a checklist that we want everyone to have completed by the time they graduate from the program. And part of that is implementing and having your debt payment plan and having it automated so that you know exactly when you're going to pay off the debt. So for you, it may be 2030. For you, it may be 2099. And I'm talking about debt outside of mortgage because you need to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, the debt starts to occupy too much space in your energy, in your mind, and that's not helpful. So it's not ignore the debt, it's have a plan. So the number one thing I talked about is don't be so focused on the short term that you ignore the long term. Number two is you actually have a choice about the story that you're telling yourself about debt that you have. And if the story you're telling is not working for you, if it's not moving you forward, then it may be time to think about a different story and create a different story that actually aligns with the future that you want to have. And if that's something you want help with, check the link below for 6 or 7. This is our CME 16-week program where we teach and walk you through implementing having a strong financial foundation. And what I mean by strong financial foundation is your security, financial security is really, really important. And there are certain things that I believe is important to put into effect that will help you create the freedom that you have, that will help you create the future that you want, that will also help you create the ability to be able to give yourself the power to choose. And that's what it is about. So check the link. It's moneyfitmd.com/6 to 7. We'll have it in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll have it in the link so that you can go there, check it out, see if it's something that you want. And if it is, you can actually start now so that you can start eliminating your debt. You can also start learning how to invest and actually invest, because we don't want you to be 60 with $1 million net worth. We want you to be in your 60s with multi-7-figure net worth. And so that was always shocking to me. So for those of you guys that picked debt, I'm glad you did because it's a reality of where you are. And thank you for responding to the poll because then I can serve you more. And for those that chose investment, I was really happy about it because I'm like, yes, invest. And for those that picked YOLO, I absolutely love it for you too, because that should tell you that maybe the season that you're in is one that is YOLO. And by the way, guys, I don't know if you know this, but a couple of years ago, my family and I took a year of traveling around the world. I quit my job, we left, and we were gone for an entire year. Best decision that we've ever made. So if you are someone that you've been thinking about, how can I live my life? How can I have a plan? How can I have a choice? I have an upcoming masterclass that's coming up, a free masterclass called the Financial Exit Plan. The link is in the show note. Go there, click on it, go register. I want you to have the power to choose. And it starts by having an exit plan, right? We're not stuck. We're not hopeless, but we also cannot sit doing nothing. So if you want to learn more, go in the show note, moneyfitmd.com/exit plan. So you can come learn for free, create your exit plan, and then you will be leaving there knowing fully well what an exit plan is, what you need to do, and maybe the next steps for you when it comes to living a life that is richer, a life that is freer, because that's what we do here. So I hope this has been helpful. If it has been, make sure you leave us a review. Wherever platform you're in, leave us a review. And don't forget that you can share this as well with other women physicians that need to hear this conversation. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode. God bless you.